Today we're going to talk about taking breaks from productivity, why you should do it, and what is the impact of a monthly week off that we have in the monthly method. Let's go.
Welcome to the Monthly Method Podcast. This is a show for solopreneurs, creators, and artists who have a burning desire to launch a project. This is for a project that is not urgent, but truly important. The one your best life depends on. Your host, Paulina B., is a certified Scrum Master. She brings a proven record of launching successful projects, both professional and personal. You will hear about tested techniques that lead to calm, consistency, and results. Stay tuned to turn your idea into reality 1 month at a time.
So when you sign up for the monthly method, we go through a 3-week sprint and then we have a week off. I call it maintenance week. And what I usually tell my clients is that during this week, you are not supposed to do anything related to productivity. All your goals are done, and this is a nice break for you to have in between your sprints. And it's not that you're not getting anything done during this week, it's that you operate on a very kind of like low effort level. I call it maintenance week. Basically, if you're an employee, you just show up for your work and you do things that you need to get done in order not to get fired. And same for business owners. You do the things that you need to do on a weekly basis for your business to operate, but you don't get involved in any of the new initiatives, new projects, you don't work on the new habits, you just give yourself a break. I came up with this week off because I've made this mistake so many times where I would go for long stretches of time focusing too much on the productivity, focusing too much on the goals that eventually I would burn out, I would rebel against the system and all of that. And then I would take this extended break from productivity where all the habits that I've built throughout the productive period would get destroyed, and then I have to start from scratch, and it was this never-ending cycle. But what I learned to realize is that when you take this week off, every month you take this week off, you become much more consistent, and it's a lot easier for your psyche to work 3 weeks at a time and then take a break and then again 3 weeks at a time. So let's look at some of the benefits that you get from taking a week off every month. Again, it's not that you have to go on vacation during that week. It's just that you take it easy. You don't expect too much from yourself. You're not building new habits. You're not waking up at 4 a.m. and none of that. It's like very low effort daily activities that you need to do in order to sustain yourself, sustain your business, sustain your employment, but nothing extra. The first benefit that you get is, of course, you prevent burnout. During this week, you can sleep in, you can finish work earlier. If you have higher autonomy of your time, if you're a business owner, if you're someone who is in creative fields, or if you're a professor or a student, where basically it's up to you to decide when to start and when to finish your workday. So you can give yourself plenty of free time. You can book relaxing activities for this week. You can book a lot more social engagements during this week. Kind of do the things that you need to do in order to recharge and get your energy resources up to a needed level, to engage in the activities that you want to do but don't usually have time to do. Again, really important to understand that it's important to do the activities from your want to list. And if you don't know why, check out the previous episode. It will walk you through the need to versus want to activities and how they're all connected. So first point, taking a regular week off avoids burnout. And I've been doing it for years, and I can say that it actually works. Even though during this week you might still need to go to work, you might still need to show up for your business. It's not that you go on vacation, but mentally, because you're not pushing yourself too hard, you're not expecting too much of yourself, it feels like a break. The second benefit that you get is that you can do fun things during this week that add to the quality of your life. Something that I've mentioned in the previous episode, you can spend more time on the things that you want to do. Maybe it's going to a place that you wanted to go, but that is a bit further from your house, or maybe it's going on a mini road trip, or maybe it's going to a new restaurant, or maybe it's exploring a new neighborhood, because you have more time, you're not focusing on a bunch of to-dos, you can actually do fun things that adds to the quality of your life. And again, these activities are what create fun memories, are the things that add to the flavor and colors and overall amazing experience of being alive. So you never want to miss on these things. And having a week during your month where you're not too occupied with becoming a superhuman with all the to-dos and morning routine and evening routine and optimizing the heck out of your day. When you have this week off, when you can do the fun things, it really helps to do them on a regular basis, and it keeps your mood high and the level of enjoyment for your life actually increases. Okay, the third benefit that you get is that you don't rebel against the system. And it is the key to consistency. Honestly, I think this is my favorite point, and it's the most important one. When you give yourself enough breaks throughout the process, you don't rebel against the system. Oftentimes when we try a new productivity tool, a new, diet, exercise plan, because it doesn't account for those breaks, we get tired physically, psychologically, and our brain starts to look for all the excuses that would allow us to stop doing this method, stop doing this activity. It will find the reason to rebel against that. But when you give yourself enough time, your psyche has enough time to relax, recharge, and then do it again with this new energy and new resources. And you never get to the point where you are too tired, too burned out. So you never give your brain an opportunity to start rebelling against the system. And when you don't rebel against the system, you show up for it consistently. It's only 3 weeks at a time, and then you always get a break. You only work for 3 weeks, and then you have a week of quote-unquote vacation time. Isn't it awesome? I think one of the main reasons why I have returning clients, and they return every month and they don't need to take breaks throughout our time working together, is because every month they have a week off from all the goals, all the productivity, all of that, and they get to do whatever they want to do during this week, and I'm not bothering them. And this is awesome. And then they're fresh, energetic, they come back and we start again. And we work for 3 weeks, then we reflect, they take a break, and then they come back. And this is beautiful. I haven't had a single client who would say to me, well, I'm too tired, I need a break for 3 months now. No, because they all have the opportunity to relax, recharge, and come back again. And this is the lesson that I want you to learn for maybe your other goals and aspirations. If you're having troubles with consistency, look if you give yourself enough breaks throughout the process. Are you pushing yourself too hard? And it doesn't matter what goal it is. Is it dieting, working out, work-related goals, or health-related goals? Doesn't matter. But you need to account for breaks, and you need to give yourself enough breaks. And you don't have to be physically tired. A lot of the times it's psychological. You psychologically need to take a break from always asking more of yourself. And for this week, you're kind of content with your life and you are not striving for more, and you give yourself a break from all the thriving, from all the pursuit of more. Isn't it nice? And then you're ready to do more. Okay, next benefit from taking a week off is that it gives you an opportunity to reflect on your sprint. So we have a call on the first day of the client's week off, and we do the sprint review. In Scrum, it's called sprint retrospective. So I walk them through the questions, and it gives them the opportunity to review their previous 3 weeks, to see how their sprint went, to see what can be improved. And then throughout the week, they keep kind of thinking and reflecting on their sprint, what they can do different next week. And it's important to give yourself enough time to reflect on your activities, on your journey towards your goal, because this is the key to continuous improvement. A lot of people are talking about embracing continuous improvement, but you can't really do that if you're in the hustle mode all the time. Because when you're hustling 24/7, you don't have free time available to actually pause and think back and analyze and strategically decide what can be improved. Because reflection requires time and it requires free space. You can't really do it when you have 100 of to-dos on your calendar for that particular day. So you need the white space to reflect. And this also brings me to the next point. Having this white space allows you to think big picture. It allows you to step back from the daily grind and look at your life from the big picture level, from the bird's eye view. And usually it takes you a couple days to shift the gears from, go, to pause, reflect, and kind of zoom out and look at your life from another perspective. This allows you to ask important questions. It allows you to think maybe 5 years ahead to see, are you on the right track? Are you happy? Are you doing the things that you want to be doing, or are you just going through the motion? And again, you need a very different state of mind in order to do the reflection and also the planning. You can't really do that in between answering 100 emails. No, because it requires a very different mindset. So during this week, I ask my clients, well, first of all, to think about their previous sprint, do some reflections, do some digging, look into some of the thoughts that caused some of the actions, but I'm not going to go into details here about that. But I also ask them to start brainstorming the goals that they want to focus on for the next sprint. And I remember when I was small, every time I would go on vacation with my family, my dad would always tell me, and my dad is an entrepreneur, so every time he would not want to go on vacation because there are hundreds of things that he needs to get done in his business. And my mom would always have such a hard time convincing my dad to go on vacation. But then every single time we would go on this 2-week vacation, he would come back, and every time he would tell me that this time allowed him to zoom out, think about his business, think strategically of where he wants to go, and every time he would change something in his business after he returns from vacation. And this happened every single time. And at first I was like, that's interesting. How come all these strategic changes are correlated with us going on vacation? But now I understand why. I even remember my dad, the first few days, he's attached to his cell phone. He's still in that mood of daily grind, answering emails, putting out fires and all of that. And then it takes him a few days to actually slow down and get into this different state of mind. Very reflective, very long thought, deep thought kind of mind. And he would just spend hours on the beach just not even reading. I think he would just think. And that allowed him to step back, look at his life, look at his business, see how it's going, what needs to be improved, and kind of connect all the different pieces together. Because when you're in the daily grind, you only see a little distance in front of you, just this one task, just this one email. At max, you see a week worth of appointments, meetings, calls, but you never look further. And so when you step back, you kind of zoom out and you look at different pieces. You look at your work, at your health, at your family, seeing the connections, how they work together, how the stress at work impacts your health, impacts your family, and then see what you can do about it. Because when you're in the daily task management, you don't really see these connections. So not only it's important to go on vacation throughout the year, but also have this regular breaks from productivity where you create this white space. Okay, guys, I think I've convinced you that it's useful to take breaks from productivity. Again, you don't always have to thrive for more, do better, do more, do faster, go further. Sometimes it's more productive to stop, do the bare minimum, and step back and look at this whole thing from the bird's eye view. And that's when you get the biggest insights. That's when you can actually make the decisions that will fundamentally change your life. Okay, my friends, that's it for today. If you want to go through the entire cycle of the monthly method, from sprint planning, weekly planning, to sprint review, to the maintenance week and what you need to do during this week, what kind of questions you need to ask yourself to better prepare for the next sprint, check out monthlymethod.com. All the information is there. And subscribe to the podcast if you want to have a freshly baked episode delivered to you next Monday. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to ask a question, leave a comment, or share something interesting, please use the link provided in the show notes. I look forward to hearing from you and answering your questions in the upcoming episodes.